about 100 years ago, I saw Le Mépris by Godard, and they're in a movie theater, Fritz Lang, Brigitte Bardot, Michel Piccoli, and Jack Palance, and they're auditioning women to play Nausicaa. And she's singing a song on stage, and she's going like this, you know, across the stage. And the music was very catchy, but I didn't know what the music was. And I was taking some Italian lessons before coming to Palermo last year. And my teacher mentioned 24.000 baci. And I said, what is that? And then he showed me on his cell phone what it was. I said, that's the song from Contempt. So when I suggested to you I would like to do the trailer, I wanted to use that song. And then I thought, okay, we'll put the Il Gatto Pardo at the beginning because this means Sicily. And then I did a lot of research on Google looking for pictures, and some pictures I had, and I found scenes from movies that I wanted to use. I didn't have to buy stuff like the kiss in Sunday, Bloody Sunday. It was on YouTube. And the kiss, the two men kissing, it's the first male on male kissing, and that was from Wings by William Wellman, 1929, 1930, something like that. And that was how it came together. And I have a lot more stuff. 24.000 baci Part 2. So yes, there were a lot of pictures, and it was a lot of fun to do. I really loved it. Of course, if I never hear that song ever again, this is fine with me, but it was very enjoyable doing it. One of the films that I showed here was Rope's End, which is about the career of John Dahl, who was in Rope. Originally, Rope's End was the name of the play that it was adapted from, but then they changed it to Rope. And, well, he was in two great movies, Rope and Gun Crazy. And then his career in movies just tanked. Nobody wanted to hire him because he played crazy, disturbed young men. And his first love was the theater. And he went back to the theater and died at a very early age. He was 50. And it was a very sad story. And I wanted to explore that, plus the fact that Hitchcock wanted Montgomery Clift to play his part, and he wanted Cary Grant to play James Stewart's part, who was their teacher in prep school. And it's all based on this real-life story that took place in the 20s. Leopold and Loeb, two brilliant students in Chicago who wound up killing a 14-year-old boy just to prove that they could do it, because they believed in Nietzsche's Superman theories, and they thought that they were kind of Supermen, superior to other people. And the way they could prove it is by committing the perfect crime, which was not so perfect because one of them left his glasses by the scene by the crime, so they could identify him very easily. And this was also the subject of a later film called Compulsion, which was a novel, a stage play, and a movie with Orson Welles playing the lawyer who got the two men off a death sentence for life imprisonment. And one of the guys was killed in prison, and the other one was released after 17 years or so. Anyway, part of the idea of the film was that what if Montgomery Clift and Cary Grant had played those parts? And I think the last line of the film is, well, if Alfred Hitchcock couldn't get what he wanted, Montgomery Clift and Cary Grant, what are the chances that you can get what you want? I mean, Alfred Hitchcock, there's no greater director in Hollywood than Alfred Hitchcock, or more powerful or more sought after. So that was kind of the driving motor of the film. And at the end, like, I tried to put Montgomery Clift's face over John Dahl's and Cary Grant's face over James Stewart's. So, and somebody said to me, "Oh, you know, this with artificial intelligence, you can really do this. Yours looks very amateurish." I said, "It's okay. You know, I don't really care. I don't need that kind of perfection to make this movie." Well, you really can't paste two things together. You have to find the exact moment or the exact expression. And that took a lot of time because you have to try it with this, try it with that. You have to find the right, I mean, they have to be looking at each other in a way or close to looking at each other in a way. I'm very proud of the GARBO and Ivan the Terrible shot because even my assistant, who is like a terrible, hates everything. Like everything is wrong. And like I showed it to him and he said, "Oh, that's really good." So I was very pleased about that. That was when I did the Garbo Eisenstein movie, that was the first thing that I did. And I had no idea how it would work in the final film. I just do things that kind of give me pleasure, and then I figure out later how it works inside the film. The marriage of Greta Garbo and Sergei Eisenstein, I had no idea what it was going to be about. I just liked the title. And at one point, I wanted to do a film called Greta Garbo, King Kong and Frankenstein. And I researched a little bit, and I couldn't find a way to make it coherent I mean, they're all fantasy figures, they're all constructs, but I couldn't find a way to make it come together in any meaningful way. I mean, so I abandoned it fairly early. Well, part of it is true because Eisenstein was hired by Paramount Pictures and lived in Hollywood for 2 years. And there were several scripts that he proposed, and he wrote the scripts. I think one is about a very Tati idea of a glass house where everything is in glass, and you could see the neighbors upstairs and the neighbors downstairs, and they could see you. That's perfect for a Tati movie. In fact, it's in playtime. You can see into the people's houses from windows on the street. And another was Sutter's Gold. And there were a couple of, and he wrote a script for an American tragedy based on Dreiser's novel. So he did a lot of work in Hollywood, and they did know each other. And she called him Eisenbahn, which means train in German. On the other hand, Eisenbahn is it's not really funny, but I think calling him Eisy is much better. It's like more compact. And they did play tennis together. I mean, apparently all these guys played tennis. Who knew? So that part of it is true, that they knew each other and were kind of friendly. And another part of the movie that is true is that Sundays, all the emigres would spend time with each other at one of the emigres' houses. And they didn't have to speak English. They spoke German mostly, and Greta Garbo did speak German, and EISENSTEIN spoke he spoke English, French, German, Russian. Actually, yeah, probably German, but I know he spoke English and French, as well as Russian, of course. And Salka Viertel was definitely Greta Garbo's best friend, and somebody here suggested, well, maybe even more than that. Doesn't interest me, yeah. So there are things that are true in it, but they were never married, and I doubt that they slept together, and she never had an abortion with his child. She probably had a couple of abortions, but not as a result of sleeping with SERGEI. And I don't know. It's a fiction, and I say at the very beginning this is a fiction, so that people don't say, well, when were they married? How long did they live together? And the answer is no and no, or they didn't. So it is a fiction. I haven't started. It's called Gigi, or the Price of Sugar, and there are two books that I haven't even ordered about the history of sugar, and I'm very curious to read them. Okay, where Gigi fits in is that all of the very rich people in Paris in what are we talking about? The turn of the century, last century, their fortunes were made in the Caribbean with sugar and maybe pineapple and I don't know what. But basically it was slavery, and they were like death camps for Haitian and Dominican Republic workers, and they paid them nothing, and people died working in the sugar fields. And so Gaston Lachaille, who is courting Gigi, brings her caramels, which she loves. And caramel is sugar and water and condensed. This puts a very different picture on Gaston Lachaille, who's played by Louis Jourdan, and Maurice Chevalier, who's his uncle, was also a very rich man, probably also made his money in sugar. And I don't know, it just puts Gigi, the Colette novella, and Gigi, the Broadway play with Audrey Hepburn, and Gigi, the movie with Leslie Caron, the musical. And then there's also a Gigi made in 1947 with Danielle Delorme. It just puts it in a very different perspective. And so you have Gigi and zombies, you know, legends about Haiti, and I Walked with a Zombie, and A Zombie Child, which I think is a really great film. And I have a lot of research to do, and I just want to take some time off before sinking myself into that, because I think it's going to be a complicated project. But I don't think I will be doing the kinds of things that were mentioned earlier about not collages, but putting images together in the way that I did in the marriage of Greta Garbo and SERGEI EISENSTEIN, or Rope's End. I think it'll be a more straightforward, dare I say, political essay. I don't know. I mean, I never know until I start doing it. So, but I recently reread the Colette story, and she mentioned sugar much more than the movie by Vincent Minnelli. So I think that there's a lot of material to work there.